Rug that
Uh-oh.
has my
Okay, welcome, folks. We are live this week with another great topic. I have Melissa here from Forest Frenchies. I figured it's a really great time to bring her in. She is a breeder, and I get a lot of questions from you guys about breeders and breeding and things as such. So I figured why not bring in a specialist since that's what she does. So welcome, Melissa, to the live. So what I want to start by talking about is, hold on, give me a second here. So the questions I get, ideally when people look for breeders, they're like, okay, they either get a recommendation from a friend or, their vet. But ideally, if I didn't know any of these things, where is the best place to look for a breeder and what type of breeder should I be looking for?
Yeah, so there's a lot of places that you can look. I love what you said, firsthand referral is definitely best because then you get an experience-based personal experience. Google searching is good. If you know what breed you're looking for, you can
Mhm.
look online in your state. You can say, like, I obviously specialize in French Bulldogs, so I'll use them as an example. But you can say, French Bulldogs in Maine, French Bulldogs in Massachusetts, French Bulldog breeders. Also, the AKC website does have
Yeah.
a listing of breeders. I will just say that as long as you're registered with the AKC, you can pay for that listing. And that's basically how that works. So any breeder that wants to pay for that listing is able to, and I
Mhm.
would still vet them as you would any other breeder. And Facebook
Mhm.
groups,
Yep.
you can look on Facebook groups for your specific breed. If you like German Shepherds, or if you
Mhm.
like a few different and you're not sure, definitely follow a few different ones to kind of get an idea of, is this dog breed right for me? And is this breed
Yeah.
right for me?
Exactly, and right for your family. I talk a lot about that, like getting dog breeds. Of course, you want to get the cute dog or the big dog or whatever dog, but you have to think about what dog is right for your family and choosing that breed that correlates. So, if you want a lap dog, then you want to choose a breed that likes to lay around. If you're a hiker, then you want to choose a breed that likes to go, athletic or agility or whatever it may be. So Melissa is right by choosing like a breed that's good for your family. So when they look for a breeder, um, are there certain red flags or things they should look for? Like once they Google them, like, hey, I think I found a breeder. What sort of things should be red flags, or what sort of things should they be looking for before they reach out?
I kind of lost you audio wise there for a second there. But I think what you're asking is what type of questions that we should ask our breeder.
Yeah, once they
Yeah,
Google
so
them.
I actually manage a few different groups on Facebook, and one of them is French Bulldogs of Central Massachusetts. And on that page, I have a post that I actually made with a list of questions, and I'm just quickly a couple
Yeah.
questions off of that. Questions to ask dog breeders that you're interested in buying from, and this is any breed.
Okay.
Um, do you DNA health test your dogs? What health testing do you do? Will you video chat? Do you allow us to come to your home? And please, if a breeder says no,
Mhm.
understand that it's for the safety of their dogs and family. And if you want to see the dog in person, that's okay. Go with a breeder that does allow the home visits. It's just
Yeah.
not right for you if it doesn't match up. Pictures of the parents, vet references, maybe past client
Mhm.
references.
Yep.
How long have you been breeding? How many litters do you do per year? How
Mhm.
many litters do you have your female have? If people are breeding their female 5, 6, 7 times, that might be a red flag for you.
Okay.
Um, so how do you socialize your puppies? And a copy of the contract is always a great question, so what's
Mhm.
on the back end there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of well, not I can't say speak for everyone, but can you talk about the importance of why you do the DNA testing and why they should be mindful of that?
Yeah, absolutely. In every breed, there is breed specific conditions, genetic conditions that they're predisposed to potentially. And they can be a non carrier. They can carry one copy of the gene, or they could carry two copies of the gene. And by knowing by doing the breed specific DNA testing, it helps us as a breeder eliminate dogs from our breeding program or accept them into our breeding program. And I personally do DNA health testing breed specific for all of my dogs. And the ones that pass the testing, we do use for breeding as long as they are, good temperament and all these other things. But it really helps me know that all of the puppies are DNA health cleared through parentage. And now that doesn't mean that your dog will never get sick or, they might not have something arise because they are a living being. But it does mean that they are not carriers or double carriers of genetic conditions.
Yep. And so so you have all the health backgrounds and things like that. And I always talk to my clients too about knowing what are the conditions your breeds are more, they can get. Like, so when I got my lab, it was like, oh, do you want to do surgery on the hip because they're more likely to get some type of bone? Look, I'm no breeder or anything. I'm a trainer. They get some type of bone condition. So those are things like Melissa's saying, why they do DNA testing and that you should look out for, especially if you don't want to pay high vet bills later on in the future as well. So you spoke about asking about socialization, and I talk about that is so important. What type of socialization should a breeder be doing in advance that they should know about?
Yeah, absolutely. As a breeder, I know what I personally do and what I look for. And I know that there's definitely a range for what people do. I'm very hands-on. So things that we do are desensitizing to different flooring, different sounds, cabinet shutting, people coughing, vacuuming, that type of stuff, where you may have received a rescue puppy or a dog from somewhere and they were skittish or nervous of certain things. Our hope is to desensitize them from these types of things so that they're really just easygoing and understanding of what's going on in their environment. And because they are not fully vaccinated, we do not bring them outside, but we do introduce them to the different flooring and the other dogs that are fully vaccinated within our home. So they get that socialization. And then of course with us, we do one-on-one. It's important to separate the puppies and make sure that they get a little bit of time to grow.
Exactly, the alone time. Oh my God, this is so important. I talk about the importance of socialization and effects of the dog long term. And I always say, I tell clients the most important time are the first 8 weeks. And ideally, we don't have them, whether we purchase them or get them from the rescue. So it's always important to ask those questions to a breeder or, even to a foster parent, just to see what type of socialization's taking place. So you are looking for a dog, you do contact a breeder, please do ask about socialization. So is socialization mandatory with breeding, or is that something that you chose to do?
It's absolutely not mandatory. And I will tell you that there's a huge range. And that's something that I wrote down is like what you get as a breeder can be a breeder who whelps their puppies in a $10 plastic kiddie pool. And then you have the other range, which is high professional grade whelping boxes and equipment. There is a range of people who treat their dogs very well, but don't really spend a lot of one-on-one time. And then there's people like myself that study the Volhard aptitude testing. And, we go a step above to just really even litter box training our puppies to give them that step above to be a little more prepared and help our clients. It's a high maintenance breed specifically, so giving them that extra leg up helps, right?
Exactly. And I can tell you specifically, I purchased a Frenchie from Melissa and I was amazed. It was pretty much potty trained, very desensitized to all types of sounds. And it just made it so much easier to transition the puppy from the breeder into my home and kind of continue what she had already started. And that's like what I always talk about is just putting in the work early so that everything's smooth sailing a little bit later on. So what would you say, I know maybe this is not so much breeding, but maybe you would know. What would you say the best breed is for busy families?
Yeah. You know, that's tough because every breed is different. And then within breed, you get personality.
Okay.
So that's tough. I say, like, active families, just be understanding and aware that if you want your dog to go everywhere with you and do everything with you, then you definitely need to breed match. If you are a
Okay.
very active outside hikey type of family, you don't bank on getting an active Frenchie. Like, make sure that you get an active breed dog. While there
Yep.
are many Frenchies that can go on long walks, that, you know, you don't know that that's what you're going to get. So you do have to breed match. If you are okay with letting your dog stay home while you go hiking and let them be a
Yep.
couch potato, then it's
Mhm.
okay if you don't specifically breed match for every detail of your life. But it's
Yep.
something that you really want to take into consideration, and understanding that every dog needs attention throughout the day. And I personally don't feel like any dog should be left for 6, 7, 8 hours every
Yeah.
day. And who can stay home though? So you get
Yeah.
family, you get friends, you get a dog walker, dog sitter,
Of
you
course.
get,
Yep.
you know, different types of things that you can do to have the dog that you want, as long as you can provide a good life for that dog as well.
Exactly. And so would it be the same type of breed match for, because I work with a lot of families with children, and that's like a biggest thing, the nipping, the biting. Can you actually do a breed match for a dog for kids for for calmness?
I don't think so. I don't
Just
think so.
throwing it out there.
No, wouldn't that be great? But
It was.
I think it's so individualized,
Mhm.
because even within I have 5 French Bulldogs here, and they have such different personalities, and
Yeah.
I think that when it comes to kids, younger kids, what it is all about training your
Yes.
child just as much as training your dog. You need to
Absolutely.
teach your kids, right? You have to teach them
Hmm.
when to touch, when not to touch, how to understand the cues from a dog, what the dog is telling you with their
Hmm.
ears, their teeth, their noises, that kind of stuff. And I
Yep.
think that any breed is a good breed for young dogs, as long as you put in the work and you are there.
Exactly. Hmm. So you all hear that? And I always talk about that putting in the work early. It sounds like it really doesn't matter what breed dog you get, as long as you put in the work early and teach your kids how to, properly play with the dog and be around the dog. In addition to the training of the dog, it could
Yeah.
all work out to have a dog in the family with the kids. So what
Yeah.
I want to ask you is the top 2 questions that I get about breeding, and this all goes back to the contract. Okay. So the top question I get is, why do I have to spay or neuter my dog if I purchased my dog? Why?
Yeah, that's a great question. Why? There's a lot of reasons.
Okay.
Safety first and foremost, the safety of your dog. Would you want to ever deal with an accidental pregnancy? What would that look like? What would you
Yeah.
have to do in that situation? Termination of pregnancies in dogs is not something that you want to have to deal with. It's very risky and it's very dangerous, and they'll just spay your dog anyway.
Yeah.
I think if you don't plan on breeding your dog, then there's really no reason not to spay or neuter. It's more a matter of when
Yep.
is it good? And there's a lot of varying discussion in the veterinary world about
Yeah.
that. As a breeder for my program, I personally recommend waiting for males until they are over 1 year old, and for females past their first heat. And that's to allow them the hormonal development that will give
Hmm.
them the build and the bone structure that they really would lack if they get early spay and neuter. They have
Yep.
found can affect their growth. But also, there's actually health complications. The biggest one for females is something called pyometra, and it's
Okay.
a very scary infection of the uterus that can
Mm.
occur during heat cycles, and it's
Okay.
deadly. And it's not something that you really want to risk your dog going through. So those are just a
Yeah.
few reasons.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's more than just, just pushing a dog out like in a pregnancy, like there's plenty of complications that can take place. It's something that you can't pretty much do on your own. It sounds like in addition to other health risks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really
Okay.
dangerous. I mean, there's a lot of risk involved with breeding, and especially French Bulldogs. We
Yeah,
don't well
that's
breed naturally. They require C-sections. And while
absolutely.
there are some dogs that can, there's always the risk that a puppy will get stuck, and then you're risking your dog as well as the litter. And nobody wants to risk their babies and their
Exactly.
kids. So
Mhm.
spaying and neutering is, I think, in a contract, because as a breeder we care so much about our dogs, and we care the puppies that we provide to our clients
Yes.
are our babies first, and I especially love them first, and I just want to know that they're gonna get the best life possible. And
Yep.
that is being spayed and neutered, to be taken.
Absolutely. Yep. And the second question I get, which I understand, but I don't, the cost. Why does it cost so much to purchase a dog? And if you don't know, the cost can be anywhere between 2 to 10,000 plus. So can you talk a little bit about why it costs so much?
Yeah, definitely. I will first say that as a breeder, we pay 2 to 3 times, sometimes even more, a lot of times even more than what pet clients, excuse me, what pet clients pay, because we are breeding and we are going to receive a profit, hopefully,
Yeah.
eventually. But vet bills, gas
Hmm.
bills, if you even pay yourself for your time, you're doing great. But I have an incubator, I have an oxygen concentrator, we have
Hmm.
kennels, we have dozens and dozens of blankets and whelping, and I have fluids, and just, I mean, a rollaway cot. My bedroom is
Hmm.
probably 5 feet away, and I sleep on a rollaway cot next to the
Yeah.
new mamas and their puppies, because it's important to me.
Hmm.
So, and on top of that, our breeding related vet bills are
Yes.
astronomical. Um,
Yes.
I joke and say that. Oh, sorry, I joke and say that
Hmm.
I keep my vet's light bills on,
Yeah.
because we're
Uh-huh.
there so often. And then there's so many other costs that we just
Mhm.
don't even talk about, the losses, that's really hard to talk about. And then
Mhm.
for us, it's stud fees that range into the thousands. And it really depends on where you are on your level and who you're working with. But
Yep.
our breed especially is of the more expensive, and it's because of
Definitely.
the testing that goes involved.
Hmm.
We have to time things. Sometimes my progesterone testing has ranged over $800, and then my girl didn't take, so I was out several thousand for the stud fee, 800 for the progesterone, and so on
Hmm.
and so on, and she never got pregnant. And
Yeah.
then you have to start over. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, folks, this is why it costs so much. I mean, and then think of the food too, and it's a lot. A lot goes into
Medicine,
breeding. Yep,
vitamins, the list goes
yep.
on and on. And I mean, collars, harnesses, treats,
Hmm.
feeding, and
Other staff you may have to hire if you don't want to leave the pup alone. It's
yeah,
only you, but you have to bring in other people, to watch them. Yep.
yeah.
So before we wrap up, is there anything else that you think that's important for, folks to know about, getting a breeder or breeding in general that they may not know, or any misconceptions?
Um, just one little thing I'd like to touch on. I see a lot of something that affects breeders is like adopt, don't shop. And
Mhm.
I used to work in rescue. I worked with pit bull rescue. I love pit bulls. I think that rescues
Mhm.
absolutely need homes. Please
Yeah.
adopt, absolutely adopt. But I don't think it's an adopt, don't shop type of situation. I think that
Okay.
they're different. I think that you need to go to the shelter and adopt a dog if your life allows for that. If
Mhm.
you have children in your home and you have a very specific idea of what you would like for a dog, then it's okay to shop. It's
Yeah.
okay to seek out a reputable breeder who knows the breed and can
Mhm.
help you, and you get a lifetime of support. I'm here 24/7, even on vacation, you know, and my
Absolutely.
clients, I get back to them as soon as I can. And you don't get that from a shelter dog. You know, you're kind of on your own. And again,
Mhm.
you still should do it if it's right for you. I just don't love the comparison because we put in, it's just not, it's the apples to oranges. It's not the
Yeah.
same thing, you
Yep.
know.
And you always have to, like, going back to choosing whatever's right for your family. If that's, purchasing a dog, going to a rescue, or getting, family friend, whatever, just you have to do what's right for your family. So, thank you for giving us all that information on breeding. So do you want to tell folks where they can reach you if they're interested in even talking about breeding or purchasing a dog from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. First
Yeah.
of all, I love chatting dogs, so
Oh,
thanks for the
definitely. Yeah.
opportunity. Um, I am Melissa of Forest Frenchies. We're located in Maine. We have forestfrenchies.com, and we also have a presence on Instagram and Facebook, of course.
Mhm.
You can watch our dogs grow and see some cute videos and stuff. We have a litter coming up next week. It's probably a small litter, but we
Mhm.
have a couple more planned for the end of the year. And anybody who wants to just chat dogs or has
Mhm.
questions about French Bulldogs in particular, I'm your girl. I've
Yep.
got my first English Bulldog coming next month, so I'm really
Exciting.
excited about that. So
Okay.
new venture, and yeah. So if you have any
Yep.
questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And
Mhm.
again, there's Facebook groups, French Bulldogs in Central Massachusetts, French
Okay.
Bulldogs of New England, all
Okay.
those types of ones. So if you love French Bulldogs or whatever breed of dog you do love, find
Yep.
them out and
Yep.
chat it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And last question. So does a person have to be from Maine? Could they be from another state to purchase a dog, like California or whatever?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Actually, majority of my puppies do go out of state, and
Okay.
we're more than happy to coordinate that with you.
Good.
And I think that it's okay to search outside of the state. It's a trip, and it's an adventure, and
Mhm.
puppies travel well and they adjust very quickly. And absolutely seek out what you are looking for and where you find it. If that works for you, then go for it.
All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll be back next week with another great topic. Enjoy the week, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.